How's it going, guys? It's John here from Hot Take Hockey to talk about the big news coming out of Anaheim. We were expecting it. We thought it would come a lot sooner, but now the Ducks have announced that Executive Vice President and General Manager Bob Murray will take over as interim head coach as Randy Carlyle finally gets fired. So it's unfortunate, but head coach Carlyle has been relieved of his duties. He's obviously gotten a lot of history as head coach, but specifically in Anaheim, this was his second stint with the team. Not as much success as the first, obviously, with winning a Stanley Cup and I think three final appearances. Yeah, so let's go right into a quote of Bob Murray, kind of talk about how this affects the Ducks moving forward, how they kind of needed this change for a while. Bob Murray, this is a quote from him. We thank Randy for everything he has done for the organization. Leading the team to a Stanley Cup and three conference final appearances, he has accomplished so much in Anaheim. Difficult decisions need to be made when times are tough, and our play has clearly been unacceptable. We have a tradition of success in Anaheim, and we need to get back to that. So yeah, three conference championship finals and a Stanley Cup, to correct me on that. The winningest coach in Ducks history, Carlyle led Anaheim to a Stanley Cup championship in '07 and three appearances in the Western Conference Final. Carlyle led the Ducks to a Stanley Cup playoffs in 7 of 8 in his full seasons with the team. He owned a 46-37 postseason record with Anaheim and ranks 27th all-time in playoff wins as a head coach with 49. So the resume is pretty impressive. Obviously, he brought the Leafs to their first playoff appearance in 2013. That was the first time in, I believe, 9 years. Carlisle is the only person in the National Hockey League history to play 1,000 career NHL games and serve as head coach for 900 or more contests. He is at 1,055 games played, so obviously that number stops at where it is, but 924 games coached. So if he does get hired by another team, he could reach 1,000 for both games played by a player and games coached by a coach, which is pretty cool. With Anaheim and Toronto, Carlisle posted a 475 wins, 334 losses, 115 overtime losses, all-time record behind the bench. Among all-time NHL coaches, Carlisle ranks 33rd in games coached and 29th in victories. A three-time finalist for NHL General Manager of the Year, Bob Murray will take over as head coach for the Ducks on an interim basis. He has never been a head coach, only in a GM stature. So he was just signed to a 2-year extension, if you guys saw that. And I think a lot of people were freaking out. A lot of people were pretty unhappy with that, pretty surprised. So Bob Murray will take over. What does this do? Well, this is just kind of a things to start for Anaheim if they don't improve things here. You'll start seeing players moved out. We've talked about it, whether it's Cam Fowler's, Josh Manson, Jakob Silverberg's, Nick Ritchie's. A lot of players could be moved. The three bigger players in Getzlaf, Perry, Kessler up front. Obviously, tougher contracts. I could see, if it got to the extreme point, I could see a team obviously wanting Getzlaf. Getzlaf's obviously a very serviceable player, can still slot into your top six and produce at a high pace, especially if he's surrounded by players that can compete. Another player, obviously, that's been a surprise is Rickard Rakell. Still putting up decent stats, but it's just a matter of, you expect these guys in your top six, especially with the Ducks defense. And the way John Gibson was playing, you'd expect them to be in better position right now, but it's just losses after losses. They just got pounded by the Philadelphia Flyers, who are on a winning streak right now. So we'll see what happens with the Ducks. But for now, Randy Carlyle is fired. Bob Murray will take over on an interim basis. We'll see what happens with the Ducks for the rest of the season. But if you're here, please subscribe to the channel, drop a like. I appreciate you being here. This is John from Monte Hockey. Have a good one. Peace.